Hi, this is Taylor Williams. I'm just doing the presentation for the web flow or web workflow and task runners for this week 11. So I just wanted to talk to you first about workflow, the steps to success. Now, I do a workflow on how to do like a website. So, because it was called web workflow, so I was considering like if you're doing a website and building a website, like what's the flow that you should start and in getting those things done. The first thing is a kickoff meeting. Now this could be multiple things, different, just maybe just like a brainstorm meeting or any type of meeting to really understand the product and stuff like that. And I'll go in more detail in each one of these. The next step is discovery and research, site, architecture and content creation, wireframing, design, prototyping, development, quality assessment, and content review. And then the launch and evaluation. These things are all important steps to building a website and having that flow, that workflow that is needed in getting that all done. So the kickoff meeting, it's an important step. It's really just to innovate kind of the project that you're doing and evaluate what needs to go into these projects, determine a roadmap or set deadlines, different things like that. The next is discovery and research process. This is learning about the company and the products and services. Setting marketing goals, developing an audience, a target audience, so knowing who that person is. If you're building a website, let's say like a lot like the website that we're building in class. That website is for the weather and getting things done. And you got to know your audience and who you're really looking out for and who you're building that site for. That's what really happens in this discovery and research process, is evaluating that audience, evaluating the needs, the industry, how to market to them, understanding technically like what widgets or different things that they want on the site for that audience. The next is the site architecture and content creation. So this phase is a lot of coming together and decisions about the pages that you'd want inside of the site, how these pages should connect, a lot with like a site map and the process of building that site map, and also understanding the content needs inside of each page. So developing, like, if there's going to be a product page, what products are going to be on each page, or what is there going to be a category page for each of these products, and what products link to each category, different things like that. Let's go. Wireframing is the next step. That's an important part of this site architecture and content creation, is making sure that you have a wireframe built out for the pages that you want. A wireframe is something very basic. You're just going to say a picture is going to go here, some words are going to go here. Kind of just a map of the page. So when you come to the design, you're not focusing on where to put the images, but what images need to be put there. Where to put the words, but what words need to be go there. So it leads us to design, where you involves in like defining these elements. So defining the elements of like color, the primary color, secondary color, the font type for the header, the H2s, the H3s, the H4s, the H5s, and H6. How much space goes in between paragraphs, different things like that. It involves a lot of design elements inside of it. So definitely an important part in this workflow. We're getting to prototyping. So once you have the design of each of these pages from the wireframe to the design element, you implemented the design element, then you get to prototyping. And prototyping, you're able to show how these pages connect. So your home page will connect to these certain pages, which will be pages of these sub-pages and different things like that. And you'll be able to, nowadays it's a very important process of actually building a prototyping phase where even though they're not real websites, they're images of the content inside of the website would be. It allows us to experience from the user flow, is this the correct experience that I want my user to have? So, and then once you have that prototype done, you're able to move to development. That development phase is where you are able to write the code, get a page going, the website up, different things like that. Everything that has been up to this point really goes into code, and it's done. You know what I mean? The design most likely will be done in PSDs, so you're taking all the images from those PSDs, putting them into image folders. Those image folders get connected to the web page, things like that. So that development process is really far down the line when you look at a workflow of how a site is built. But once it makes it a lot quicker once all the other things are done before it. Then you're doing a quality assessment and content review, making sure that all of the content reflects exact what you want, and then also you're testing the functionality, making sure that it's correctly putting out or going to the page that it needs to go. A lot like the prototyping, making sure that that's correct, and then launch and evaluation. So you launch it, make sure everything's good. You ensure that your marketing goals are defined, and you should evaluate the progress of your site through tracking different things. An important free tracking tool that I typically use is something like Google Analytics. It allows you to put a code on each page of your website and track who comes in and out of it, where they go inside of it, different things like that. This really allows you to optimize and understand how the user is using your website. And then from that data, you just make improvements in future marketing implementations. And yeah, so that is the part of the workflow that I have now with task runners. I wanted to kind of just show you guys that task runners are, well, here's a quote. It says, if you've ever worked with code, you would have heard of the phrase, keep it dry, or don't repeat yourself. In other words, if you have to do something repeatedly, find a way to do it more effectively, typically with less code. And that's where task runners come in handy. Task runners are mainly used in CSS for compiling ASS or CSS code into CSS, and then running auto prefixers on new CSS to catch any vendor prefixes we may have missed, minifying these prefix CSSs, and then updating our CSS banners with new timestamp information. Now, these things are pretty important to help us just be make our code complete and make it simpler. SASS, if you don't know, is actually just a way that we can use variables inside of our CSS and allows us to use templates inside of the CSS, so that just allows us to use that to make things go quicker for us. And then minifying the CSS files are important because it makes the data a lot smaller and allows us to have our page load speeds quicker. Next is the JavaScript task runners. It's just to check our JavaScript errors, concentrate with others included scripts into one file, so it's just making all of our JavaScript files into one. Sometimes a lot of developers will separate them out so they understand what JavaScript file is doing what action, but it does make it easier for the web page to load up if it's all inside one file instead of multiple files, and it doesn't have to load all 10 or 15 different JavaScript files that you've created for different functions. And then recheck for errors and minify these scripts. And then optimize any images to make the file size smaller. And this can also be helpful. I don't know if any of you have used like WordPress, but WordPress will also, what it will do is it will set multiple images sizes for each image. So let's say I throw an image that's 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels. It will shrink it. It will save that one that's 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels. We'll also do one from 800, 800, 500, 500, and 250, 250. Different things like that to allow us to use thumbnails, medium-sized images, small images to use or optimize our load speed time, just to improve that. So task runners can also do that. So once an image is uploaded, it will make a task of actually running that through. Before I end, one other thing that's important that task runners do are they'll compile information from updates. So if any updates are ran on a file, it will it can throw an automation to update anything inside of that file that needed to be updated to other files. So reference sites that I used. If you guys have any questions, you can always email me or message me. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.